That's right. You know it, folks. You know what time it is. MCU's Bleeding Edge, Friday evening. What is it? 21, 23? Right? We're a little
21.
bit late. 21. We're a little bit late. Hey, I got it right for one, Cyber. Okay, you should be proud of me, brother. Inside joke there, folks. But no, hey, we're here to get after it. We're here to do a review of Inception. That's right, folks. Andres from the Pop Culture Guy. How do you say the YouTube channel, Andres?
Andreas, the Pop Culture Guy channel presents.
That's right. Send it to me in the private chat, and I'll play it during the show.
Sure.
And what's going on, Facebook user, whoever you are? I never know who you are when it says Facebook user. So
yeah.
I could just give you a name if you want, but so how about Steve? How's that?
Right. Send you the link.
Does Steve work? You know, like this?
Fuck you, Steve from Bumble. Fuck you.
There you go. Perfect. You like that setup? There you go. Just for you, Steve. Just for you, Steve. Anyway, Steve, my bad. But no, folks, we're here to do an actual second film review. I mean, hey, how could you literally top Bloodsport as your first movie, like regular movie review, non-fandom, with better than Inception? Which, of course, was not my pick. That would be Cyber's.
Cyber, you're my hero.
Cyber's everybody's hero, Andres. Come on, bruh. You didn't know that?
Yeah, I knew that. I'm just saying yeah.
Except for fucking Ambitch over fucking a Geek on the podcast, his hero is right there. There you go.
Apparently, Facebook user wants to know if we're talking about boobs tonight.
Jocelyn, is this you? Are you Facebook user? Are we talking about boobs tonight? Well, we'll have to see. I mean, there was really no boobs in Inception, unfortunately. Unless I missed it or something. But we'll see. It could happen. You never know with me moderating the show or on the show in general, what I could say or might not say. Either way, though, folks, really quick, I am, of course, the creator and host of the MCU'S Bleeding Edge YouTube channel and podcast. This is our Friday night live stream show. I am joined by my co-host Cyberneticshark. I am joined by Andres once again. Thank you very much, Andres, for all the time you've been putting in with us, brother. Appreciate you.
No problem.
Folks, do us a favor. Do us a solid. Support us. Subscribe to us. Follow Andres. Get Cyber over 1,000 subs. Ring that fucking bell, baby. Like this shit or don't, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Whatever, drop something in the comment section. Now let's get into it. Let's get after it. All right. Inception. Now, comes out in 2010. Won 4 Academy Awards. Right? Made a lot of fucking money.
Yep.
Right? Especially for 2010. And actually, to be honest with you guys, Cyber, I was actually surprised when I actually looked at the box office totals in general for the top 10 films of 2010. The box office did pretty good back in 2010. Overall.
That was the first year when we had 2 films cross the 1 billion mark. That was Alice in Wonderland and Toy Story 3.
Yeah.
And, that was the year of Harry Potter, the Deathly Hallows Part 1. So
I know that really like changed my life too.
Yeah, so that 2010 is the best year of movies in general.
Well, it wasn't my best year of threesomes, so that's all I can tell you. You know what I'm saying? But no, maybe it was. I don't know. All I can tell you is that Inception. I don't know. When you tell me, Andres, you tell me, Cyber. I consider it. They list it when you look at IMDb and all that and whatnot. They list it as one of the top films of 2010. So maybe you're right, Andres. Maybe the class of 2010 was that good because for me, I see Inception as almost like a transformational film that like literally from a visual standpoint and from a digital effects standpoint did things that, if anything, I think probably helped evolve cinematography in general. And, you tell me, what do you think, Andres?
Oh, well, that's tough.
In terms of the blending of the digital effects with the cinematography.
Yeah. Well, first off, I mean, I don't know what's your guys' opinions on Christopher Nolan. I mean, Christopher Nolan is the best filmmaker of all time, and this guy helped to bring all the practical effects mixed with digital effects very well, and this is like the peak of it. This is like the best like action film I seen in a while. You know, like I mean, besides John Wick, like this has such a great spectacle of any action films and big scale. Like I mean, the hallway fight scene, like iconic. You know, just how innovative it is. Like Nolan took the innovation from 2001, the rotating thing, and make it into like an action scene. That's really cool, you know. Yeah, and then there's other things. I mean, this movie affected
And
everything.
he wrote the film too. He didn't just direct it.
Yeah, he wrote this is like him completely. This is his baby. So this is my favorite Nolan film. This is my number one favorite movie because this is his creative and most emotional project he ever did, and it's one of the best.
Well, I don't know. Interstellar's pretty fucking dope too, man. But
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
and it's yeah.
Cyber. What do you think, man? I got to be honest with you. I think Christopher Nolan is epic too, but I consider him more of a generational, like, you know, leader. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, but I don't believe that he's a better director than some of the ones that came ahead of him.
I personally think that he's a hit or miss for me type of genius director. He's got some good ones, and I think he's got some bad ones. And I've always enjoyed, you know, majority of his films, what he brings to them. I'm really looking forward to Oppenheimer when it comes out in July, because that's just a really great story that's going to be interesting to see. But definitely, I think that he does really good with certain films, and then other films I just feel is too much information all in one film. Like he should have spread them out more. And sometimes, like I feel like he overlooks certain things when he's writing and doesn't really explain things as well in certain films. Now, Inception is a masterpiece of a film. It's perfection. It's everything that you would want from Christopher Nolan, just like The Dark Knight. And he just made this really fantastic film that was so beautifully directed, acted, written, visualized, and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah.
So I think Christopher Nolan is a good director, but I definitely feel just like any other director, he has hit or misses for me personally when it comes to directing.
I think for Andres, for me, I think he's a sweet spot kind of guy. Like because I just love his writing, I really do. I love his mindset. I love to pick his brain, right? Like I you know how I feel about standard interviews, Cyber. I love to just bullshit with the guy, right? Like and just ask him questions and be like, but personally, I'd be like, dude, what inspired you to make Interstellar? You know what I'm saying? Like, what internally were you thinking about mentally? Like, what was churning through your head that you just came up with the premise of doing something like that, right? Like, what hit you? What did you bump into in life? Who did you talk to, right? Like, what did you come across that you get what I'm saying, though? There's always that moment of creation, right? It starts with that spark, you know? And at that point, I just think that I'm impressed. Cyber, whether it's hit or miss, I'm impressed by his overall talent, right? And his I don't know if I would say world building, but because he's not the type of director, but he is very nichey. There's no question about that. He's very nichey, but you got to give him credit though. He killed it with the fucking the Dark Knight trilogy. He did. So he proved that he could not just do sci-fi, right? And I don't know how you guys describe this film, Cyber, Andres. I consider it. I describe it as a sci-fi, action espionage, sort of like I guess like Captain America, Winter Soldier type vibe, type film in a way, with all the intellectual, the deep psychological stuff. They describe it as a sci-fi action film.
It's correct. I mean, it's in the vein like what The Matrix is, and to like get rid of the comparisons, like it has similar like thematical themes and just setups like The Matrix is. It's just different approaches, of how they use the dream within a dream and all that. Obviously The Matrix is more like sci-fi punk action level. Like it's a live action sci-fi anime film, The Matrix, where the Inception is literally a science fiction action film, as you say before, Jeff, like mix of spy thriller.
But
Uh,
Cyber, I think the Inception is a lot deeper than the Matrix. As far as like how deep it is, like really, like when you break it down to the nitty gritty, the Matrix's premise is very fucking simple, right?
well,
Inception is a really you gotta really think about it and like really rewatch the movie to really even fathom some of this what's going on.
well, sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Here's the thing: Inception has different conversations and talks over the Matrix. The Matrix talks about other things, like free will, and you know, like the chosen one, like MacGuffin, like all that. Like the Matrix has like very much archetypal, archetypal like type story that we all familiar with, uh, packed with sci-fi themes that we all know, like the destruction of it, the danger of technology and all that. Where Inception, like they use science fiction, like Nolan used the sci-fi genre to discuss meaningful things, like is our world is real, like what is reality, and then you talk like and then he goes with like guilt, like how is guilt manifests into the dreams, like there's a lot of like psychological themes that goes on in Inception that I really like, and that it is so grounded with the main protagonist we have, Cobb, played by Leo DiCaprio, and how he's dealing with the death of his wife and how that affects him, and and that's like such a like all that it carries throughout the movie, like just slowly, like a virus, because Ma is Ma, the wife that is the main villain of this movie, is like she's like a virus, and like how she's like just killing Cobb in such a effective way because of the guilt that Cobb has, as we reveal towards the end of the movie, that he implemented the idea that when they're in the Inception world, he made her think that that's not real, and then when she came out, the idea just grew almost like a virus into her, and then like that led her to commit suicide, which is so dark and like sad, and you see why Cobb feels guilty throughout the movie, and that's like so like it's handled so well by Nolan because just how he executed it right, you know.
The entire movie is basically based off the whole premise of it is based off of grief and guilt. Essentially, that's the deal. That's the gist. All the characters, essentially, to some extent, in some way, are like at least the main ones. At least Kai is all It's all based off grief and guilt, basically, right? And Cyber, just to bounce off of Andre's, right? Again, I don't want to get deep into the Matrix. The Matrix was a revolutionary film, a revolutionary film trilogy. It was. I don't want to take anything away from it at all. Right, like I mean, shit. What we're gonna be getting near the 25th anniversary soon. I think, are we of the first Matrix film?
The third, the second, third movies.
Okay.
The first one passed 2 years ago.
Oh, okay. The first one's the best one, of course. But no, Cyber. But no, I mean, I thought anyway. Don't get me wrong. I apologize. This is my opinion. 2 and 3 were good too. And I love Carrie Ann Moss. I did not see the fourth film, though, yet. I still haven't seen it. I know you guys saw it. I didn't see it. Sorry, Cyber.
Well, to answer your question earlier, I think Inception and Matrix are two completely different types of films, but have the same generalized theme. I think both of them are simplistic. I don't think either of them is too complex because Inception, like you said, is about grief and deception. Grief and, letting go of what you are grieving about. So, I mean, Inception basically has a very simple premise, just there's a lot of intricate pieces that they pull out to give you that final answer. Just same thing with Matrix. It's that simple premise, but there are a lot of moving parts that pull it together. And I think both the Wachowskis and Nolan themselves have really great imaginative minds that they come up with these universes that are really unique. And that's what Inception is and what the Matrix was. But overall, bouncing off of what Andres was saying, like I said, I definitely think Inception has a very simple plot along with those great moving parts that make the movie such an amazing film as it is. And with such a great cast that are practical and CGI, they just all worked so well together. And that was one thing about this film and one thing about Nolan is that he always uses some form of practical effects in his films along with CGI to make it look as realistic as possible. Same thing with the upcoming film Oppenheimer. That's what he did to get a nuclear blast to look like in a film. So he does a great job of bringing practical effects to life, which is always great to see still, because you can't digitally make those effects look that great without that kind of that beacon, as I would say, for certain elements. So I think I always appreciate that for Nolan when he does his movies, that he uses practical effects. But overall, I think that the premise of Inception is really just a straight story with some great intricate parts.
I would say so too, and it has an ensemble cast, without question. For 2010, that I would, well, even today, I would consider that an ensemble cast. I would. Leonardo DiCaprio at his best, right? He carries the film. Tom Hardy when he was still kind of newish, right? Like he hadn't really blown up yet. But everybody knew how good he was already. I mean, if you'd seen any of his earlier stuff. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I mean, honestly, I hate to say it, but he's cooled off. He was hot then, right? He was really kind of hot. He was on fire. Right? And he's really good in this fucking movie. He really is. And he's perfect as Cobb's right-hand man, right? And Tom Berenger's in it, right?
Yeah.
I love me some Tom Berenger, baby. Right? Love me.
I love the Oppenheimer star here, Cillian Murphy.
Yep.
Yeah, he's in this movie. I was so happy he still works with him. He's a great actor. I love his performance in Scarecrow and the Dark Knight trilogy, and of course he's great in other movies like 28 Days Later.
I still haven't watched Peaky Blinders at all yet.
Neither do I. I need to check that.
I heard it was really good. No, but either way, so basically, as far as this Inception goes and whatnot and everything, as a contrast, I guess probably to Cyber, I don't want to go scene by scene with this, right? I'd rather just have more of an open discussion. There's just the three of us, right? So I mean, we can have as much time as we want to talk. You guys can have at it. If you want to cross over in anything, like we already have. If you want to, delve into any other Nolan films and make any kind of comparisons or contrast anything or compare anything or the opposite, right? It would feel free, right? You got the space. So go ahead, Andres. I'm sorry.
Saber brought up the hit and miss with Nolan, and I think this movie shows what makes Nolan great when he execute a very a very straight premise. Where compared to Tenet, his other latest sci-fi film, I feel one of the things that Inception got right over Tenet was having a protagonist that we can relate to. Because, I like David Washington Jr. in Tenet, and Tenet, I like things about Tenet, but one of the criticisms about Tenet was just because Nolan sometimes, particularly his characters, are very cold. They don't. They feel robotic and they don't have too much emotions. Sometimes you get it why, but when you have a character like Cobb or Bruce Wayne in the Dark Knight trilogy, where you sympathize the character because of the tragedy behind them, it makes the movie it helps the movie experience watching it great, and you're invested in the story that he's telling, and that's one of the things that's been successful with Inception over maybe certain Nolan films, is that Cobb is a very good protagonist that has a background that we can go behind, and the whole movie, he's like that desperate to get back home with his kids, which is such a universal theme to get behind. And like, eh, I think that's one of the. I think Cobb is one of the best protagonists, and I think that's something Nolan sometimes forgets when he makes some of his movies. Is try to get a protagonist that is relatable, and like we get behind their mission, and throughout the movie, and that's something he needs to like make it work. I mean, certain films don't need that, like Dunkirk. Like I like Dunkirk. You don't need like a characters to follow, but you need characters that you need to be like to be relatable to, and like you can follow their mission into the whole movie. You know?
Well, Cyber, how could you not be more relatable to Matthew McConaughey, fucking Leonardo DiCaprio, who's one of the finest actors I've ever seen in my entire life, as far as his consistency and whatnot across the span of his career, in terms of the quality of the films that he's put out over and over and over and over and over again, like one after another, whether you like him or not, like he's just fucking great. And he gets so much tail too, right? I mean, seriously, dude bangs models left and right. You know what I'm saying? Like killing it.
Excuse me, I had dated all models in my time in the tech days, in the 60s and the 70s
Oh,
and the 80s.
you mean back when chicks had afros downstairs and shit?
No, because I was a spy, just like
Oh,
Cobb.
okay.
So,
All right. Anyway,
yeah.
Cyber. But no, Cyber. No, I'm not trying. I'm not. Andres, I get your point, but I think that personally, look at Interstellar, right? Matthew McConaughey, almost in his own way, pulls off some basically what DiCaprio does in this film.
yeah.
He existentially carries it with the secondary characters.
Yeah, Interstellar is a good movie. Interstellar has the best protagonist. Matthew McConaughey's character is great because he's trying to save the planet.
Well, hold on.
No. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing with you, Jeff. I'm just like, no. Like, his what's his Matthew McConaughey's character's name? Dom or something like that. Like he's a great character too.
Tom, I think.
Yeah, Tom. I'm just showing. I'm just like comparing it to Tenet, where Tenet failed to make that protagonist work. You know.
Okay. You should. Well, if you would have explained that right from jump, I would have understood what you were talking about.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Anyway,
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Cyber, my friend. No, let me ask you a question. I can remember watching Inception the first time. And wow, was it stunning. It was something else, man. And you tell me, when you start right off and they open things the way they do with Cobb washed up on that beach, right? At that point, you don't know what the fuck's really going on, because I don't know about you, but I didn't even watch trailers back then. I did. I had no idea. I went into films just wide open, no idea. Right. So as the curse of Jar Jar Binks is starting to kick in with the echoing and whatnot. So Cyber, what were your thoughts? I mean, back in 2010 when you saw this, did you see this in the theater?
I saw this in IMAX actually back in 2010.
Ooh, you lucky bitch!
Went with my family. We traveled an hour and a half to go see it at an IMAX theater from where we were in Massachusetts at the time. And I got a cool collector's cup when I went too as well. I saw this in IMAX and it was amazing on IMAX. That was the only time I've been to IMAX too. And it's worth it if you get to go to one. It is amazing. It's so cool. But I just remember going into this and how it begins. I was kind of like, are we already in the story without knowing what's going on? So, at first it kind of, shows that, kind of going, oh, interesting. I don't know what's going on here, but, oh, okay. All right. But, I remember just thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, it starts off kind of weird. And that's just common for Nolan films, though. If you had seen Batman Begins before this, or if you saw Dark Knight before this, or anything that Nolan did prior to this, that he kind of starts his movies kind of like already in motion. So it's kind of like that's just a common thing Nolan does.
You're right.
So it wasn't a complete surprise, but at the same time, it was kind of like, oh, this is odd how this is starting, but okay, cool. But I remember just seeing on the big screen DiCaprio, on in that beach, and you're just like, whoa, like that's so cool. Like, and the ocean sound and all that kind of stuff crashing up on him and stuff was just like so cool. But this was so amazing the first time I saw it. It's still amazing to this day, 13 years later. And it is such a fun film. And I mean, it's just really fun, really enjoyable, really amazing on IMAX. I wish, everyone that got to see this in theaters back in 2010 saw it on IMAX. I hope a lot of them did. But yeah, it was so cool and so amazing. It's such a great story.
When I did my research for the prep work for this show, IMAX comes up a lot on IDMB, on the Wikipedia, right? You keep hearing IMAX being mentioned, right?
Yeah. Nolan, he helped resurrect IMAX in general and make it into a mainstream thing. Like, not only that 3D was getting popular with Avatar, but like Nolan helped resurge the IMAX experience. The first time he did it was Dark Knight. Like, if you go back Dark Knight, the 10 opening, the first opening scenes of Dark Knight, like it was like special. And like same thing with the truck scenes with the Joker chasing Harvey Dent. Like, but here, Inception, I think in this movie, I think Nolan figured out a way to shoot it a couple of times more in Inception and IMAX cameras, and so that's why the IMAX thing always pops up. And I think it got better when we got to Rises. I think like the movie was now completely shot in IMAX. It was just when you see like those lines pop up in the screen, it's because they're switching out the IMAX cameras to some of the regular camera. So like Nolan has been pushing the cinematic experience in IMAX, and like that's the main reason we have IMAX theaters now, because of Nolan. And thank goodness, because I mean, I've been a couple of the IMAX theaters as well, and they're great. I mean, like the sound's great. Like, I don't know, you've seen the Batman. Like, speaking of a Batman really thing, like, oh my god, that sound effects, the sound, the design, all that, like, is so great in IMAX, and it's just like, oh my god, heaven. So
I've only seen IMAX at Ripley's Believe It or Not in South Carolina at Myrtle Beach.
Okay.
Back with my ex-wife on vacation. And at Disney. Also as an attraction at one point they had it at Disney down here in Florida. This is way back in the day before they had the theaters.
Yeah. Right?
You know what I'm talking about, Cyber, when they were just almost like kind of like experimenting with it. It was novel. This echo's driving me nuts. I'm actually going to switch my audio over to like a webcam and see if that does it, if that changes it. Hold on 1 second. I want to see if it does anything. Let me see. Am I still echoing? You guys, you hear me okay? Still echoing. Still echoing.
No, switch back. The other one was fine.
No, yeah. No, it's not. The echoing's not bad. You guys can't hear it. I can hear it.
Okay.
You know how it is, Cyber. Andres, it's what you hear it that it bothers you. But yeah. No, so Andre, same thing to you, man. Cyber's right. He is with Christopher Nolan. He gets right into it, right? Look at Interstellar. Look at the Batman Begins movie. He rolls right in to his stories. Like, he does not play around. There's not a lot of semantics, right? Like,
yeah.
No, I mean, and honestly, Cyber, you mentioned something earlier about how much he puts in films, right? I think that's why he does it like that. Because that's the way he writes. The scope is so grand sometimes, right? Imagine Interstellar, how much they probably had to edit that story to make a script out of it. Seriously, right? So I mean, at that point, Andres, do you remember? And I am jealous of you guys. Seeing Cyrus, having saw this. I've never been to an IMAX theater, like seeing a film in IMAX before. I've got to see one. I think there's one in Bradenton. There's an IMAX. That's where Kyle goes at True Believers. But shout out to you, Kyle. But no, Andres, you remember what your thoughts were when Cobb sits down, you get the older version of Ken Watanabe, right? And of course, you don't know at that point that you're going to get the same sort of scene again towards the end of the film, right?
Yeah. I think it, like, the opening, you were uncertain. Like, it's a great, like, I say, this is a classic movie thing. It's just a great payoff to like, it's payoff to, it's gonna be payoff towards the end of the movie. And when you get to that moment towards the end, it's like, oh, so Cobb went back to the limo to save, Seto, the Ken Watanabe's character, and tried to bring him back, uh, you know, out of the exception world, and tried to make him remember that he has to uh, agreed on the arrangement that they had together. For him, for Cobb to be free from his criminal charges. So, but no, the opening was intriguing. Like, that's the thing about Nolan, is that when you have the first opening, it's like, okay, what's going on? I want to know why Leo is on the beach, like, why he's here, why is this old man talking to him? Like, he knew Cobb, like, okay, he knows him somehow. And so, and it's also a great way to transition to the next scene when we get to, the young Seto, and to the Inception mission that, Cobb and Arthur are doing. So that beginning is great. I like it. It's very iconic. Before we go any further, I mean, let's talk about the music. Like, the thing that makes that opening and this movie so iconic is Hans Zimmer. Hans Zimmer had worked with Nolan in Batman Begins and Dark Knight, but this movie is really where they really, like, collaborate.
Who hasn't Hans Zimmer worked with?
Yeah, I mean, Steven Spielberg, maybe. Hans Zimmer has worked with a lot of directors. Anyway, like, this movie is iconic. You know why trailers have this sound? It's because of this movie, Inception.
I think he's got clones like Moff Gideon.
Yeah,
that's how he's able to do all. That's how he's able to do all the films.
Yeah, exactly. And he has proteges under. Hans Zimmer has proteges that are now composers. That are in the industry now. Like, Chunky XL is one of the proteges of Hans Zimmer. And he's great too. Anyway, I love the Inception soundtrack. It's so iconic. Like, when we get into, the first level, the dream that we get here, the dream collapse, of Cobb trying to get the information from Seto, like, it's really iconic. Like, the action is great. The music by Hans Zimmer is titled "The Dream Is Collapsing" is so great. It gets you into the movie right away. I mean, the music is just so iconic, and it really helps to get into the sci-fi of it with the music, which is great.
Now, Cyber, let me ask you. And again, I don't know. I don't know if any of us can really answer this, really, to be honest with you, accurately. But is this a film you think that would hold up, maybe with like a younger kid? Like, if we sat my daughter Isabella down, or Sally Gives You Girl down to watch Inception, do you think that they would buy into it and be down to, like, I could convince them, like, to watch it with it being from 2010, or would they be like, oh, fuck that?
I mean, honestly, I'll say it again. It'll be hit or miss, I feel, with the younger generation for this film. Because I think there are people of that generation that would like this, would enjoy it, because they were brought up a certain way. Yes. Whereas others are brought up another way. And so they're probably not going to be into it as much. So it's a hit or miss either way, unfortunately, when it comes to any movie, that's, over 10 years old. Or even 5 years old right now, because of just how much the climate has changed with the movie industry. So, unfortunately, that's how the cookie crumbles. And you got to remember that, it's going to be hit or miss no matter, when the film was done, because you could even go back 40 years, let's say 1983, let's say when Return of the Jedi came out. I'm sure there were people born in the 50s, 40s, that wouldn't saw that and probably were hit and miss then too. So I mean, it's always an evolving and revolving door when it comes to what generations will like what, because it's always an evolving market. So it's always going to be that hit or miss, no matter what generation it is. But I would say out of all the generations, most definitely these newer generations are a lot more sensitive to that versus the previous generations.
Yeah. And also piggyback on that. I mean, actually, I think Inception is very clear. Like, this movie is for mature people and for older demographics. Plus, um, like for me, when this came out, I saw Dark Knight. This movie was promoted because of the Dark Knight success. I was like, oh, well, this is the guy who did Dark Knight because I love Dark Knight. I was like, okay, so it's, I, you know, there's movies that are very clear on who they're targeting, the demographics. That's what you call it. And this movie is just, it's, I just mentioned in the chat, like it's around like 18 through like older crowds, and I think that's something that this movie has is very successful. Um, and plus, if you know Christopher Nolan with the like if any IP like Batman, it's like, oh, okay, this is the guy that did the Dark Knight trilogy, and Inception looks similar. It's just okay, it's not comic book, it's more sci-fi, and it's like okay, you know, and so
No, yeah, I do.
yeah, so I think this film is very clear from the instance when you see the trailers, and then when you see the film, it's like okay, I see what's going on. Like you don't need prior experience if you've seen any Nolan's film. Like if you're seeing Dark Knight or Batman Begins, it's like okay, I see what he does. If you're a film buff like me or like Cyber and Jeff, it's like okay, you know. Um, so it's very clear what kind of demographic, you know.
Well, I mean, and you know what? It's strange, but there are adults out there, and a lot of young people I know for a fact that would not that rebel at the concept or the idea of the fact that when we grew up, right? I know all of us when our mom or dad said we were going to watch a movie or whatever, whatnot. It was a good movie or whatever, whatnot. We sat and watched that fucking movie, right? There was no question. There was no like debate, right? No. You know what I'm saying? It was like, okay, if you say it's good, then it's probably good. Like I should probably watch it then. You know what I mean? Like it's my family. I'm going to sit down with my family and watch a movie. Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to pretend I know all you guys' personal experiences, whatnot. I'm just saying that's how it was for me, right? I trusted my parents, my dad especially. I trusted him with it when he recorded films on the old VHS cassettes, right? And occasionally there'd be some porn in there too, like some hidden porn, right? Like he put some fucking like fake title on the shit on the video and say like Syracuse versus Villanova. You know what I'm saying? 89 NCAA tournament shit, but it would be porn, right? I would find that shit. That was dope, right? Like I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? I like that shit. I didn't know what was going on, but it was cool. But either way, when my dad would like, record the movies, I just assumed that they were probably good and I should watch them, right? Like I probably would like them. That's how I felt. I don't know if you guys felt that way, but that's how I felt. And I always had a respect towards things that were older than me. Anything that was older than me, that was classic, especially stuff that was well known to be good, well known to be excellent or exceptional, like The Godfather, right? And when I was younger, everyone knew about things like The Godfather. Everyone knew about Scarface. Everyone knew about fucking these epic films and whatnot, right? Like this was widespread knowledge among teenagers. We all knew about this kind of stuff. Right? We did. And we all did. We all knew what the classic films were. Right?
Well,
and everything.
Well, because, those classic films, like, were always referenced by other IPs, like The Simpsons. Like, they always reference all those movies. And, or like artists, music artists reference these music. Like, I don't know if you guys hear this song, but like, on the dance floor, it's by Jennifer Lopez. Like, there's like a reference to Inception, and like the reason that this movie, just like any classic film, it's like it has been infiltrated in pop culture by
Jennifer Lopez still exists.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
Okay, cool.
yeah. So yeah. So I mean, I think one of the things that's really iconic about this movie is just the image and the quotes. Like, I mean, it's
Hey, quote J-Lo is good. Is good any day.
yeah. I mean, I like Jello. My mom doesn't like Jennifer Lopez for some reason, but whatever. Jennifer
Hey,
Lopez, best musician.
yo,
Uh,
J-Lo is one of those Hispanic chicks where she'll be fucking slamming until she's like 87 years old.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Anyways,
Anyway, yeah. So
it's just a fact. I'm telling you right now. That's how it is. That's how they're built. But either way, what do you call it? No, so basically, Cyber, I think that the zeitgeist is one where it really is something where I'm not trying to get deep into it, but I'm at a place where the reason why I've been asking you questions here and there about this kind of stuff, and you too, Andres, is because it interests me a little bit. Like this divide, not divide, but this change, this shift that where things are so different with our youth compared to now, like when we were younger, right? The things that we were just like immediately, like we understood instinctively, intrinsically, naturally. You know, the kids nowadays, they don't even care about, they don't even know about, like, or they don't even grasp the concepts of like why we did those things. Like to them, we were like what, I don't know, uptight or whatever. Or in all reality, they're all a bunch of pussies. You know what I'm saying? To tell you the truth, but like compared to when we were growing up. But no, Cyber, you made a good point, and I think that overall, I just wonder sometimes with these short attention spans, especially they say that it's worse and worse with the youth, but it's creeping into more heavily into older people too. To where you wonder, like, even if you got a 20-year-old to sit and watch this, would they be bored by the first 10 minutes and just give up? Like Andor episode, like all the people who walked away from Andor after episode 2 and said, fuck it.
I mean, honestly, I think where it comes to, or what it comes to, that I'm sure there will be a lot of, kids from that generation or that age that, yeah, probably would walk away from it, would get bored with it. Because if you look at how it works these days, parents aren't really involved in their kids as much as our parents and previous parents were back, 40, 50 years ago, because of the internet, because of social media. These things all play into effect on what people watch, what they view, what they do. And so these kids, unfortunately, these days, they're not influenced by what their parents watch. They're influenced by what other people are watching and what they're all doing. And unfortunately, this generation, the last 20 years, the last 10 years, because of that technology, they're not able to have that same experiences like us. Because like me growing up, everything I watched was because of what my parents watched. It wasn't what I saw on the internet or what what other people were telling me. Like I had kids at school that would tell me about things they would watch. Yeah, most definitely. But that was nowhere as big an influence as say social media would be. So because every other single person on social media is say, oh, I'm watching this or this and this, and it's the same thing over and over again. So that repeat offender basically starts to ingrain into the child's brain, and that makes them want to watch it. Plus, also, I feel that this time around, during this last 20 plus years, I would say that there's a lot more kids shows that are of so many different varieties now versus when 40 years ago we had like Sesame Street, we had Disney stuff, we didn't have as much stuff to look at. I mean, look at today. I mean, there's the new Blue's Clues, there's that Bluey guy, there's Blippi. I mean, there's so many freaking things now for these kids, and you wonder why they end up like they do because of all this stuff. And so because they're all blasted all over the internet, the parents, of these kids are not introducing them to stuff they grew up with. And so unfortunately, that's, where it all comes from, is it's not the same environment like we had, or even, our predecessors, the Gen X and baby boomers. And before that, because TV has only been around since the 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hold on. Let me finish. I hate when you start talking when I'm still talking.
Sorry.
Bad, Andres, bad.
Anyways, let me just finish my thought. So basically, that's just how it is, and that's where we're going. Now you may talk, sir.
Sorry, Cyber. You can put me in a limbo if you want. But...
Don't fucking say hello to me, bitch.
Really? Anyway, so no, Cyber, I agree with you. Like I think my generation were the last because unfortunately corporations have been consigning so much of the product that our previous generation used to watch. Sims Street was on PBS, but now it's on YouTube, and so speaking from one of my my mom used to be a tutor or like a substitute teacher, and she told me that it's getting worse because of parenting. I think parenting has changed as well, and so there's no like strict parenting anymore. It seems like it's like there's no like boundary of like, okay, what's good content and like what you should learn to like be an adult soon. Like I learned
the internet really affected it. It really did. The internet, the social media platforms, because we had the internet when we got AOL, I think, or whatever and shit when I was like 13, right? We had AOL and whatnot, all that bullshit. Dude, I'll tell you right now, I had so much game even from jump, bro. No joke. When I went to college at High Point University, North Carolina, I was on one of the first dating sites ever and got some tail set up and whatnot to where I made sure I got laid right when I got to North Carolina and left New York. So I had that shit set up, baby. Right?
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now. I told them fuckers over at the ticket place or whatever about the Rockville thing. I'm like, yo, don't be playing around with me, kid, man, fucker. I've got like chicks waiting on me over there in Daytona. You know what I mean? I can't be having this, right? I can't. I'm trying to see my favorite band and like hang out with some fine ladies. But either way, speaking of fine ladies, Eddie Page or whatever is in the movie, but I still call her Ellen because I don't give a fuck whatever she calls herself. She's just Ellen to me. She's a fucking chick, so I don't know who the fuck she thinks she is. But whatever. Either way. I'm sure she's fucking traumatized and all that shit. But either way, she's fucking great in this movie, man. She's really fucking good. She's a great actress. Really good in this movie. As the architect, right?
Yes.
I love the hold on, Andres, you son of a bitch. You know what I'm saying? I think you may actually need to smoke crack to calm down. I think. Like crack might be the opposite for you. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like a medication for you. You can be the first person ever actually prescribed by a doctor to crack. I'm just joking, man. Calm down. I don't need to talk, bro. We all like to talk. It's all good. You dated 770 women after 5 decades? Holy shit, man.
Yep. It's 5 decades.
Well, I don't even know what my numbers are, but I know they're bigger than you got bigger. Your totals are higher than mine, bro. So hats off to you.
Yep.
I thought I was a savage. But anyways,
a savage, a gentleman.
No, but seriously though, Marianne Talliard is fine as shit. I don't care. Like she is fine as hell. And I was about to say, yeah, seriously. Like you do understand that from the duel, right? Or whatever, or not, or what Will Chamberlain or whatever, whoever it was that banged, like he said he banged what, like fucking 1 million chicks or some shit, or whatever. His dick fell off like halfway through. You know what I'm saying? It just fell right the fuck off one day, right? So, after that, he was just eating pussy the whole time. He became a connoisseur of vagina licking, right, to make up for his lack of penis. But anyways, basically though, when I mentioned the espionage angle of the film, when I mentioned the fact that I wanted to ask you guys. Sci-fi, do you even really consider this a sci-fi film?
Yeah, my
No,
my page.
hold on, Cyber. I'll go to you, Andres. Cyber, do you think it's a sci-fi film? I'm not sure it is.
I mean, technically, I would consider it more of a, like a thriller with some sci-fi elements to it, because of the whole dreamscaping thing, most definitely. But like overall, like the definition of sci-fi is science fiction.
That's what I'm
And to me,
saying.
science fiction to me is more like, Star Wars, Star Trek, Alien and stuff like that. Like that to me is more science fiction than this would be considered science fiction to me. But because of the dream element, I get why they would consider it being sci-fi a little bit, but at the same time, I think it's more of a fantasy almost film a little bit to an extent. Because
but the dream element is technology driven.
Yeah. So that would where the science fiction would come in.
Yes. No, Andres, think about it. Did you ever think about that for a minute? Really question it? Do you really feel like this fits the exact definition of a sci-fi film?
Well, yes. Here's the thing: when you say fantasy, like good example of Star Wars, you're not focusing on the details of the technology and all that. Like in Star Wars, is it's like a lived-in thing. But with Nolan, in Inception, he explains every detail on how this works. And that's where it does fall into science fiction. I mean, we have Joshua Golden talking to Elliot's Page character, how the maze, how you work in the Inception world. Like every character explains to Elliot's Page character how Inception works and how you do it in the dream worlds. And we have technology that we see, that how you operate it, and how you get out of the dream within the dream. So if you do those explanations, then yeah, it's a science fiction movie. But if you're leaning on science fiction fantasy, it's because you're not explaining full on your universe about how this technology works and all that. So yeah.
Well, I can tell you right now, it wouldn't matter how many layers of dreams you went into, whatever, whatnot. If I banged Eddie Page, she'd be turned into a fucking slave slut, fucking whatever, just like any other chick. So it wouldn't matter how many layers deep she went. There you go, Eddie. But no, but seriously though, I feel like, Andres, what's up, brother? What's going on, man?
After you speak, I just had a question. What's your favorite action scene in this film?
Oof. It's hard for me. I don't do good with favorites. Cyber knows that. You know what I'm saying? There's so many good action scenes in this film. Of course, I guess you pretty much have to go with the attack scene when they take. You know what I'm saying? When they're trying to when they're trying to penetrate and fight against Cillian Murphy's character's inner defenses that are built in, right? For Inception, right?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And whatnot. And they've got to actually go on a full-on assault, right? And whatnot and everything with the snowmobiles and shit and whatnot in that winter area that they were in and whatnot and all that. That was pretty dope. But at the same time, though, the car chase scene, right, where Yusuf is shooting back at them and whatnot and everything, and right, he's the only one awake, and driving and shit and whatnot. Then the car suspends when it flips over and they go slow-mo and shit and everything and right now, as they're all already out. That shit is sick, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, the fact that utterly, Psycho, what's his name? What's his name? Soku?
Sato.
The fact that Sato utterly takes a gunshot wound from a bullet, from a gun, right from jump in the first layer, where they're only supposed to be there for a minute. Right, and do their little interrogation deal, right? And use Tom Hardy to do his transitioning ability, where he can. Tom Hardy's part of his team, folks. Basically, in Inception, the team essentially is designed by Cobb with Yusuf, who is the chemist, right, and is capable of doing this multiple dream diving, right? dream within dream stuff because it's considered sort of exotic and dangerous, right? So there's a lot of potential, which is of course, it get unfortunately, and it really shows like a lot, I think, about Cobb and his character in the film, and again the guilt he feels and whatnot and everything, and like at the same time the grief and what that can do to someone in his situation where he's being hunted, right? He can't go back to his children. He literally goes into the situation knowing that every time that they drop a layer, they get the opportunity that if they get hurt and they die in the dream, and it makes it more possible that they'll just die in real life, right? And they don't find out until literally they're about to go do the mission. So he's selfish as fuck. Like he is.
Yeah.
He is.
For good reasons, but...
No, but you know what? Cyber, I think, and Andres, you'd agree, he believes in himself. He's confident in what he can do. He believes he can pull off the job. He doesn't want anybody to die. I'm not saying that he's like willing to let them die or whatever. They're expendable to him or whatnot, his team. You could tell that like he gets a lot. He seems to like Ariane, right? But Ariane's the architect. She designs the dreamscapes, right? And then actually like explains them, right? The map of them, whatnot, and everything to the dreamers, because Cobb can't anymore. And Cyber, you want to tackle it? How do you explain what is it with Cobb that what is it that he spent so much time in limbo that he no longer could dreamscape, he could no longer architect anymore and build?
So the reason why he stopped doing architecture is because of the dead
Maul,
because of the protection
Maul.
Maul, because every time he would create something new, she would find out and sabotage it. So he had to get a new architect because he needed to so that he didn't know the plans, so Maul wouldn't know the plans. So also, I think another reason why he stopped doing it too is because of being down in limbo as well for so long. As he mentions, they're down there for like 50 years. They grow old together and all that kind of stuff. And, because of being down there so long, I'm sure it mentally, messed with him, just like it did with Maul. And so, unfortunately, he also probably kind of like after doing all that, what he did with his mind, he probably kind of ran out of ideas to use too as well, except for stuff he already created as well. So I feel that it was a mixture of both of those things that kind of kept him from being a architect anymore. But mainly I think it's because of just that projection of Maul is what really was the biggest key of him not being the architect anymore.
Yeah, and I'll tell you right now, Maul really gives me vibes of Vision in the WandaVision series. All she is a projection, right? From Cobb, isn't she essentially, right? She's in his dreams, in the dream state.
Yeah.
Right. So like she's not like her authenticity is only because of his memories of her. She's not doesn't actually tangibly exist. Right? Cyber, right, Andres, in these dreams. Like she's not a tangible being or concept that like lives through this space. There is no, you know what I mean? If I understand correctly, right?
Well, I mean, the difference between Maul and Vision is even though, Vision is a construct of Wanda's imagination, he still is physically there and able to interact with
That's
other
right.
people.
You're right. Yep.
Unlike Maul is all just in dreams. She isn't anywhere in the actual real world. So there is a difference between the two. No,
there is. It's just an interesting connection. And honestly, Andres, the concept of Maul to me is probably the most interesting aspect in the entire movie. I won't lie to you. Her existence, right? Like her impact and how she's able to haunt him, and yet be in real time and know what's going on and whatnot and everything and all that shit. Could you imagine living like that?
No. Yeah, I mean, that's why I say she's a great antagonist for this film. Like she's like the classic female.
But is she
fatale.
antagonist? Is she an antagonist, or is she actually like almost his soul, or like
Well,
his guilt?
well, technically she is an antagonist. She is like destroying the thing that Cobb is try to get back to his children. It's just she's not real, in the story. So
Yeah, but
and also she goes with the
but
art.
she committed suicide because of him.
Well, yeah. Well, technically, he caused the suicide if he didn't implant the idea. So, anyway, I think antagonist is the wrong word, but she's like a classic female fatale in the film. Like she's there to like just sabotage, as like Cyber says, sabotage what Cobb is doing in this mission in Inception. So.
Yeah, she haunts him in a very psychological, intellectual, like out there fucking way. That's deep.
Yeah.
It really is. If you just, I mean, it's Cyber. It's one of those things where when you think about it, there's many aspects of this film where there's tropes that if you expounded on them, you could create a lore or create a TV spinoff right off of it, the premise or whatever, right? Itself. I found in watching the movie twice that there were several situations where I was like, oh, you know what? If they wanted to, they could make this premise work in like another film maybe or something, or like a spin-off TV series or whatever, if they played this out the right way. Did you get that vibe at all?
Well, honestly, I feel like this concept could be really reiterated in any way because it's about dreaming. So, I mean, technically, you could bring in a whole new cast, have a whole Inception 2 if you wanted to, about a whole other subject, because I'm sure there's more than just these people that are dream extractors or extractors from a dream. So, I mean, the film itself I don't feel like it gives that vibe off like there could be a sequel, but the idea behind the film definitely makes me think that they could potentially make sequels to this because of the dream aspect of it, because it could be a whole new crew. I mean, you could bring back that same crew and have Leonardo DiCaprio once again, Dom Cobb, come back and have to do another extraction for some reason. I mean, there's always possibilities you can bring. I mean, look at the Matrix franchise. After Revelations came out, it took them, almost 20 years to make a sequel, and they came up with some idea. So, I mean, technically, Inception really you could always turn something into a sequel if you wanted to with the right writing. And, I mean, with this film, I personally didn't get that vibe that they could turn it into a TV show or something like that. But in general, I feel that any concept could be turned into a TV show with the right writing.
Andres, I don't believe that Nolan is the type of director or either way or writer where like he's the type that would want to revisit older properties or older films and then try to like do a second film like 10 years later, 50 years later. I don't get the vibe from him that he's that kind of like director or that kind of creator. You know what I'm saying?
No. Nolan made this piece as a singular, like completely story. Like there's no loose ends and all that in this story. So I agree with Cyber. You can expand, this lore with different casts like that. I can agree with. And it's just you have to have the right people to do it. Like there's great like movie turned into television shows. Like Fargo is a good example of that. Like Fargo, the TV show is great because Noah Hawley, who did the Marvel FX show Legion, like he took what makes a Conan film work and what makes Fargo work into a TV show.
Well, Fargo ain't got nothing on Willow, bitch.
Well, I never seen Willow, so don't let me discuss it. But if someone like myself, like or someone else, like a creative team, really loves Inception as a film, you can make this work as a television show. I don't know about using the same characters. I think this is done.
I'm surprised they already haven't made a fucking TV show out of this or something by now, to tell you the truth. But honestly, but either way, what about the ensemble cast, Andres? What about it, Cyber? This is a great cast, man. I mean, seriously, you can't do better. You couldn't have done a better job casting. I mean, and everybody, I think, plays their role really well for the most part. Like, I don't think anybody's miscast. They all pretty much contribute, right? Like, Tom Hardy's very good. right? As Eames and whatnot, and everything,
Yeah.
right? Like, you know, I
It's-
like. Hold on, Andres. Hold on. I like his charm. I like his wit, and like his experience. He's very experienced, right? You know, his role on the team, of course, is his experience and the fact that he's able in the dream state to actually convert himself into other people and copy them and be them and whatnot and everything. Of course, you know, we mentioned Ariane is the architect. And then, of course, you know, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character is essentially Cobb's right-hand man, you know, and Arthur. And, you know, and he's a badass in the film. Like, you know, in most of the action scenes, he's usually the first person on their side that shoots or shoots back if he's awake. Like you could tell he's been in the game. So either way, Andres, I'll start with you then, you Cyber. What do you think about this ensemble cast? I mean, you know, I think it's really well put together.
Cyber, you can go.
Well, that was very complimentary of you, Andres. Thank you, brother.
Yeah. I'm like Channy in the chat.
Okay, well, he said you first, so now you're.
Are you sure?
Okay,
Are you
now
sure?
you don't wanna talk.
Are you sure you're not? Are you sure? You're
Oh
not,
my god!
Are you sure you're not crank? Are you sure? Are you cranking your crank over there or something?
No, I did not.
Probably.
No. I very quickly, you know, I was just being nice to let Cyber discuss. I mean, the ensemble cast is really great.
And he just keeps talking.
Yeah, well, yeah, because now
Driver,
I'm
love
trying-
it. You gotta love it, baby.
Oh my god, I feel guilty
Andres,
now.
you're so funny, bro. You're funny.
No,
bro.
I should go to.
I
Limbo.
told you as much time as you wanted, but during the whole show you could talk as much as you want. You don't have like you could. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
You
my
can
god,
let Cyber talk. And then
no. I'm
he'll throw it to
sorry.
you.
This is your guys' show. I'm getting too old for this. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm getting
shut
too
up,
old.
man.
I'm getting too old for this.
Oh, stop it.
So, anyway, no. The simulcast is great. I mean, this is the movie that got me to know Tom Harley. This is his breakout role, as I mentioned in the chat. You know, and when he was announced to play Bane in Dark Knight Rises, I was like, perfect. He was great in Inception. And but yeah, the cast is full on great. This is my favorite cast in any movie. I think this is the best written characters that Nolan has done in terms of ensemble. Like this is great female characters he wrote.
Yeah, good call. I agree.
Sometimes he doesn't write female characters right, but this movie he does it right because like Anja is a great female protagonist that's trying to help Cobb to overcome his guilt as she's discovering what's going on with Cobb and the whole wife situation. And you know, as mentioned with Ma, like she's a great like female fatale / antagonist towards Cobb and what's going on in his arc. But yeah, every character is great. I love these characters. But yeah, nothing else.
No, she does a great job. She really does. She's excellent in her role. Yeah, and you know, and you know what though? Honestly, as far as like you saying that that Nolan like covered everything, dude, come on now. You don't think Cobb hit that shit a couple times when they were hanging out like dreaming together and shit and whatnot? Come on now. You know he did. I would. Why not? You know, fuck it. Anyways,
if it was only Jennifer Lopez.
Nah, fuck Jennifer Lopez. Either way, both they either one of them are good. But Cyber, no man. I mean, honestly, like I said, would you agree with me? I think everyone really serves out their characters well. Like that, nobody really like doesn't pull off their character.
It's a really good cast, most definitely. I mean, you can't go wrong with Leonardo DiCaprio. He's always really good in everything he's usually in. I mean, from his portrayal in Quick of the Dead up to just recently in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I mean, he's a really solid actor. He's always enjoyable to watch. And so, I mean, right there, it has me. It had me wanting to watch this film. Then you have, of course, Ken Watanabe, which is an amazing actor as well.
Yes.
I absolutely love him. He's been great in anything I've ever seen him in. He always works really well, and he was a great addition to this ensemble cast. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, always, I've loved him since Angels in the Outfield. He is a fantastic actor. Third Rock from the Sun. He's always fun to watch, and I always enjoy him. And I think that he brought a different kind of presence to this film. By being doing a little bit more of a serious role for him that's action packed, which I really enjoyed seeing him in, because I really didn't feel like he had done too many films like that. I mean, he did do The Lookout before this, which came out in like 2007 with Jeff Daniels, which was a really good film. But he really hadn't done anything really action-packed like this, I felt. So it was nice to see him in something like that. Of course, Cillian Murphy is always a master of his domain. He's awesome. Absolutely loved him. I've loved him since I saw him in Red Eye back in 2005 when he was in that. Sunshine is another fantastic movie he's in that has a great ensemble cast of a film directed by Danny Boyles, who did 28 Days Later, Slumdog Millionaire. That is a fantastic film. If you want a really good sci-fi, save the world type of film, that movie is great. Of course, we have Ellen Page at the time before her transition. And I thought she was fantastic. There was definitely a few roles I really enjoyed her in during this time frame. I thought she was decent at the time. And I think as time has gone on, I don't think she's been as good of an actress, especially with the transitioning and everything. But at the same time, I think that she did a really good job in this film. She did a good pivotal role. It was fun seeing her in it. And she worked really well with everyone in the film. Of course, Marion Cotillard, yes, she's amazing. I loved her in La Vie en Rose as Edith Piaf. She was really great. She's a great French actress. She is gorgeous as well too, and she's just a really fantastic actress that I would like to have seen her in more stuff. I mean, I think she was really fantastic as Maul in this. She did a great job. She was on point every time she had a scene with Leonardo DiCaprio or in any situation of the film, and I just think she did overall a really great job with it. Of course, you had Michael Caine in it. He had a brief couple minutes in the film. I enjoyed seeing him in the film. Of course, Tom Hardy, absolutely love Tom Hardy as well. I think he's a decent actor. Really, the movie that really turned me on to Tom Hardy really is when I really started liking him was Venom. I really enjoyed him in Venom. I think that's, to me, is his best films to date, the two Venom films. I didn't like him as Bane. I thought it was horrible. It was nothing like the Bane from the comic books. It was nothing like the Bane from the 1990 Batman films. And, I know he was trying to, Nolan was trying to make it more like realistic, but the voice, oh my God, that voice was the most stupidest freaking thing I've ever heard. I absolutely hated it. But Tom Hardy still was cool looking. He was very buff for the role. He looked really amazing. But I think he's a decent actor and I enjoyed it. There's several other films I've really enjoyed him more. And then, of course, you had Lucas Haas had a brief part as the previous architect before Adriana came in, who he was a big child actor. He was in a film called Solar Babies in 1986, it's a really fun sci-fi movie if you want to see that. But yeah, he was also in that movie Brick with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. So They had worked actually together before this, which was directed by Rian Johnson. But yeah, I think that this whole ensemble cast is just really well done. And, of course, you had Tom Berenger, which I was actually, when I was watching this earlier today, I was like, God, I don't think I've seen Tom Berenger in anything in over 10 years. And I really enjoyed him in this too. I thought he was a really good character.
He fell into Sharon Stone's vagina.
Oh, okay. So it was fun seeing him again in this film because I feel like I hadn't seen him in forever. But overall, everyone in this film just worked really well together. It was a really great cast that really pulled off this really fantastic film. That, yeah, to me, I think, I have to agree with Andreas on this, that I feel this is Nolan's best film. And with this cast alone, it really proved that, I felt.
Most definitely. And I think that, no, I mean, honestly, This I can't think of anything that I've seen with Tom Berenger that was where he made this much of an impact on a film since this movie. Michael Caine is great in this too. Nobody's mentioned him, but he sort of grounds everything because he is real. Like any scene you see with him in the film, that's real. Like that's real, no matter what. Like that is real life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Cobb does have children, right? Like, you know, anytime Kane's involved, his role when he's talking to Cobb or whatever and whatnot, no matter what you think is going on in the film, that is reality, right? Now, what happens at the end, I fucking have no idea. I don't think anyone really knows. I think that's the point of the whole thing is that it's for you to choose, right? I don't know for sure, but I've always assumed that the whole point of it was the end is for you to choose in the audience how you want the things to end for Cobb, right? Like how you want it to go. Now, am I wrong with that? Cyber, Andres?
I mean,
when we see the totem spin, right?
yeah.
I've always assumed that Nolan wanted it like that so that it was up to us to decide on our own at the end of the film what we wanted Cobb to have happen, right? Or we thought. I never felt like there was anything they gave us to connect to anything tangible to tell us what actually was happening.
Well, for me, I was gonna put this in the chat. I think he's still dreaming because I rewatched this movie today before this podcast live stream. I think one of the things I still think is still a dream is that there's certain things about it, like the way he meets up Sato, and like we do a jump, the edit jumps to him back into the plane, and then when he lands to the airport, right? We see Michael Caine's character there. Okay, how the heck did Michael Caine knows that he's going to arrive in that destination? Like
there is sort of a surreal vibe during those scenes. There are.
Yeah, so I feel like he's still dreaming. So without seeing, the springing top, I feel like it's before we get to the totem that it feels like it's we're still in the dream, and that maybe I think Cobb maybe did something to him. He maybe implant his idea of like he actually got out of it. Maybe.
Cyber, what are your thoughts?
So, when it comes to the totem, I 100% agree that that's why Nolan put him into the film. I honestly think that it was to show really kind of a way to help us understand when they were supposed to be not in the dream and when they were supposed to be in the dream. I think that's what he put him in there for, so that the audience could understand when they weren't actually in a dream when they're doing certain scenes in certain sections of the film, so that you understand, okay, this is really in reality before they're going under in the dream, leading up to when they do go into a dream. So I think that's kind of his reasoning behind that. Now, at the very end of the film, when they have, he has Maul's little spinning thing, to show, and it's kind of wobbling and still kind of spinning, where Andre says he thinks he's still in the dream. I think that there's a piece of him, of his mind, that's stuck still down in limbo. I think that his physical body did return to the real world, but there's a part of him that's still stuck down there because of that depiction of Maul. And I think because of that depiction of Maul, that being in limbo too long, having to go back to limbo, deal with, that projection of Maul, that there's definitely not all of him came back when he came out of limbo this last time. And that's the reason why his totem kind of was spinning and kind of going out of control, is because of that. And I think that is a really good way leading into a sequel, actually. I think that could be a way to bring DiCaprio back if, Nolan decided, or somebody else decides, Warner Brothers, because they do own the property, Synopsis, they could technically bring him back for a sequel, and maybe he has to go and find that missing piece that's still down there to basically, make himself whole again. Because if you think about it, how he ends it with Maul, you know, even though he kind of like finally kind of stands up to the projection and, you know, is trying to get rid of her and she dies in the supposed projection. Still, because of how many times he's been down in limbo, as they've said, and because of how Maul became very fractured from being there too long. How do we know that 100%, you know, that something didn't happen to Dom, you know, this time around because of having to deal with the past? So, I mean, there's so many things that could reference, but I think the main premise was to leave you with that: is he really there? Did he all come back, or is there still something still there? Why that little spinner didn't stop, or why that was kind of a focus on the film as well.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I mean, it's amazing the whole just thinking about it personally, what it must have been like for them to have lived a whole life together or whatever. What was it, like 80 years or some shit like that or whatever, right? Just building, right?
50,
you know,
50 years.
50 years, right? I mean, that's a long time, man. You know what I'm saying? Right? Like, seriously. Like, you may not age, but like psychologically, like you like that's time. And at that point, you know, I imagine to myself, like, what would that do to your mind if you were Cobb, right? Like, how, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how would that impact you? Right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I think I agree with Cyber because he had to probably put something on him to think that his world was also real too, as well. Because it was not only Ma was in the dream; it's also him. So like, I do wonder if he's still like functioning in psychological ways. So yeah, there's potential to make a sequel to that.
yeah, hey, whatever. Well, I guess we'll see. Either way, I'll tell you right now, Inception is a great film. I thought that without question, it's a 10 out of 10. It's not even a question. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how anybody would not rank this movie a 10? I don't even know, like, what is a 10 if Inception's not a 10. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's that good, right? And you know, guys, go ahead and drop your rankings, but I have the trailers. I actually would like to go ahead and play them. I've never watched them. So, Andres, how would you rank the film? And then you, Cyber.
Uh, uh, for me, it's number one, so 10 out of 10.
Cyber.
I give it a solid 10 out of 10 as well.
It's that simple, folks. Oh, this is where echo cancellation has to get turned off. Isn't that a pain in the ass? Come on, StreamYard. Get rid of the stupid echo cancellation bullshit, man. Pissing me off. That was fucking impressive, man. Jesus. I'm telling you guys. Cyber, that was fucking something else, man. Holy shit.
The trailer was froze.
Oh,
we
it's
didn't
froze?
see it.
You didn't even hear it?
Yeah.
Oh, man, you gotta be kidding me. Well, I'm sorry about that, folks. This is my brand new MacBook Pro. Obviously, I've got to put some work in with it and whatnot and everything. I don't know what sometimes with these new devices and whatnot and everything. Me and Andres already did some reaction videos, and one of them got fucked up. This echo cancellation button here at StreamYard is not like helpful at all. I got to tell you right now, like seriously, it's kind of a problem. You know what I mean? Like I don't know why you guys even have it. To be honest with you, I don't know what it accomplishes or like what it does, but it just basically fucks my shit up. So there you go. That sucks. That's rare, Cyber. We usually have problems like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, seriously. But either way, the trailers are great. I mean, I have them. Shit, I can just play them. My bad. I apologize.
If not, I can maybe try to pull it out and try to share it. Maybe. Let me know, Jeff.
No, I think I have them.
Okay.
Oh, I don't see them. I could have swore that I fucking grabbed them. To be honest with you, I don't know where the hell they went. But what do you call it? No, either way though. Basically, oh, here we go. No, I what the fuck? Nah, again, it's a MacBook Pro. I got this. I got to get the hang of this thing, man. I swear, I downloaded all the trailers earlier already out like on the laptop. They were there, so that we could watch them and whatnot and everything. And then I figured I would just screen share them. But either way, overall, I think that what I was going to ask you guys basically next was basically what's everybody want to review next? Like what's like what I'm saying? Like what's on everybody's list? Like, I mean, I was just throwing some stuff out there in the private chat, just like, but that's just like a chunk of stuff, good films I like, you know what I mean? In general, like, Cyber, you go first, then you, Andres. Do you, like, throw out, like, a random top 5? Like, you know what I'm saying? Cyber, like, what, in your head right now, like, what do you think you want to review? What are you in the mood for?
Well, we've talked about this in the past, and I think that I'm surprised that Lord of the Rings is not one of your first choices, because we could do all 3 films.
I know, but we got to plan it and everything and whatnot. The movies are 3.5 hours, 4.5 hours long and shit, whatnot and everything. Like, that means multiple shows for each film and all that. So it has to be, you know how it has to be. But no, I'm down, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? When you want to do it, we'll do it. We'll put a team together and we'll jam it out. It'll be a blast. What about what else besides that? What besides Lord of the Rings? What's out there? Are you looking forward to doing? What do you think of my concept of doing Tombstone and the Costner Wyatt Earp film, right, back to back, and then how do you feel about us banging out and wrapping up our Infinity Saga review series in the next couple of months and just getting it over with and whatnot and everything, and actually doing our fucking Avengers Infinity War and Endgame review and everything and whatnot? That's gonna be fun.
Well, we've already discussed finishing the Infinity Saga, so that's just, we got to do it. That's not anything to think about. We just got to do it. Wyatt Earp, Tombstone. I mean, you always are talking about Tombstone, so I mean, yeah, I have no problem doing Tombstone. Wyatt Earp is an all other question. I'm not sure if you want to do both of those back to back. That would be an interesting review, most definitely.
It'd be an interesting contrast, wouldn't it, Andres? Don't you think, if you did both of them back to back?
Yeah. I mean, I think one is, the more successful one than the other, but yeah, I could say so.
Val Kilmer kills it as Doc Holliday.
Yes, I love Tombstone. I'm in with Tombstone. Like it's a great film. I just love it. I'm surprised you guys haven't done horror. This today is Evil Dead Rises open. I was kind of wondering if you guys want to do something horror related. Maybe Evil Dead or something else.
I would imagine that probably at some point we're just going to go back and forth and pick back and forth. At some point, Cyber will I'm sure we'll throw a horror movie out, or I will, right? So once we get one out there, we'll probably build off that. But yeah, there's horror movies out there I'd like to review.
Yeah, you guys seen the recent new Scream? Like I'd be happy to discuss that again. Love that movie.
Honestly, man, I'm still trying to absorb Andor, bro. And like how much that fucked me up, bro. How good the writing was and everything and whatnot. Dude, listen, let's check this out. One of the writers of She-Hulk, right? Utterly has tweeted publicly multiple times before she took her job as writing She-Hulk that all straight white men should not be allowed to vote. Okay?
Okay.
There you go. So there you go, folks. Why did She-Hulk suck? There you go.
Ooh.
Right there.
You know what? I know we can do. We should do Wednesday. I think that'd be a good review.
Ooh.
Wednesday.
I haven't watched Wednesday. I'd love to fucking review Wednesday.
Do it.
Isn't that a series?
Yeah, Netflix. If you have Netflix, watch it. It's only 8 episodes.
Oh no, I don't
great.
have Netflix. I can't afford that, man.
Oh, come on.
That cuts into my crack budget, bro.
Oh my god, no.
You know what I'm saying? You know how many rots you can buy with fucking $11, bitch? Come on now. And you get half of a hand job.
You're lying. You have Netflix. I know you have Netflix. Come on.
Yo, listen, I'm telling you guys, look, I won't lie to you. A couple times in like the last couple of years, I've seen the ads here and there and whatnot for these like Asian massage parlors and shit whatnot around here. And they're very enticing to me, I won't lie to you. Like, I'd love to go to one sometime, but it scares the fuck out of me. I don't want to be one of those dudes that gets caught in the sting and like I'm on camera and shit and whatnot. Right? I mean, seriously. It would not be a good impression or like a good spot for me and whatnot, considering my whole fucking medical diagnosed issue I got after about all that. Anyway, Cyber. Oh man. No, so basically just to kind of wrap things up, guys, so we can get out of here and have an early night. We'll do some plugs, but Andres, I apologize. The Blue Beetle reaction came out fine, and I'll have it out by the end of the weekend. And essentially, basically on Sunday, folks, on the MCU's Bleeding Edge, it's going to be me and Jasmine and Sally, and we are actually going to start just covering basically. We're going to go back. We're going to go back to the grindstone and just start covering everyday rumors, leaks, MCU news on a daily basis in real time. Like that's what the show will be now. For now on, that's what it'll be every Sunday. We'll cover Marvel just like all the other, like Den of Geeks or whatever, whatnot, and everything, right? Like real time, whatever's going on, that's what we'll talk about, whatever. Right? I've got plans for the Monday show already. Jermaine's pussy ass. I guess he's too gay. He's too busy hanging out like with the other dude, with this dude, his little boyfriends. I'm just fucking with you, Jermaine. You know I love you, bruh. He's too busy with Picard probably or something like that or whatever to hit me up. But in the meantime, Dodger, will you stop acting like a fucking asshole? Over here making noises and shit, and whatnot. He wants to go out. You spoil ass motherfucker. But no, seriously. Basically, I'm just gonna start doing the Monday shows, and I'm gonna figure out what I want to do with them, and until I get them entrenched. But essentially, Cyber, it looks like all we've got this year looks like it's going to be Secret Invasion, and then we might get Loki season 2, and that's it. right? So
You say that every week. We don't even know yet. We do. The only official thing we know of right now is Secret Invasion.
that's right.
So until we know more, that's what we have.
And that the only reason why I brought it up is this. I just wanted to ask you guys as a, kind of like a final question. Do you think that's a good move to just keep it to Secret Invasion and just have that be it for the year? Andres?
Yes, yes. I, I mean, professionally, at least to the Marvels, and then because we don't know how Loki season 2, like, is it gonna like, because it's gonna introduce the Victor Timely character. Like, I think it'll be makes a sense to put it in 2024 and leads into like Avengers Kane Dynasty. So, yeah, but I have no problem with it coming later this year. It's just like right now, Marvel Studios have a lot. They're just trying to like actually put quality over quantity now. So
Yeah.
goodness. So
Well, the Marvels isn't going to help with that. That's all right, though. Cyber, what do you think, man? I think it's a great move to just have Secret Invasion be it for the year.
I mean, it's good for those that feel there's Marvel burnout. But those that aren't burnt out by Marvel, I find it kind of sad that they don't have more than just that one coming out.
I'd rather have Loki season 2. I would, yes.
And I still think that we'll be definitely getting another one during the fall. I think we'll definitely get some others. I'm not sure what it will be. But they have officially filmed Loki. They have officially filmed, what do you call it? The one you love so much, Ironheart. And who knows what we'll get. But I definitely feel we'll get at least one other thing this year. They just haven't announced it because, look, they didn't even announce when Secret Invasion was coming out. Like exactly when it was coming out until a month before, like almost 2 months before it came out. So, I mean, if anything does come out in the fall, we probably won't find out till August.
No, you know what? I mentioned Ironheart earlier when we were fixing the RO unit over here and whatnot. Me and my cousin, my Aunt Linda, and my brother Alex were trying to fix the RO. I was like, yo, if fucking Ironheart was here, this shit would already be done. You know what I'm saying? And if we could call Shuri right now, she would just put some vibranium on that shit and it would be straight. That's what I said. I don't think my aunt even knew what the fuck I was talking about. She thought I was delusional or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But like that's what I said though. I was like, yo, I wish Ironheart was here, right? But she's too busy curing cancer right now, Andre. So, right? Maybe what do you? I wonder what kind type of Power Ranger she's gonna be in her series. I'm just messing. But can I ask you a question though, Andres? What the fuck does Mephisto have to do with fucking Ironheart?
because of because people think he will be the mastermind who's helping the main antagonist we're gonna get in Ironheart, the Hood. So
Yeah.
so but that's like rumors. Like
That's a stupid. Why would you make? That's the stupidest question I've ever heard in my life. In the comics, a character like Ironheart would never fuck with the Mephisto or have anything to do with Mephisto, ever. She's not that kind of character. She's not a supernatural character. Why would she fuck with Mephisto?
I mean,
Right? Either way, no. But either way, no. Honestly, I'm very optimistic. I don't know about y'all, but this whole premise that they're gonna have the Punisher back, and Daredevil, and whatnot, and everything. Kingpin potentially is gonna be a big villain. Like like on the ground level, in the street level, it could be even be the villain of the next Spider-Man film, if not the big overarching villain of the next Spider-Man trilogy. Right? That shit sounds very cool to me. I like that. Seriously. But no. You guys have any final thoughts? You want to wrap up? And you have any final thoughts on Inception? Before we do some plugs. Cyber?
Once again, awesome movie, excellent film. If you have not seen it, highly recommend watching it. One of Nolan's best, and great ensemble cast, great score, great acting, great visual effects all around. Just a really superb film. I forgot how good this movie was until rewatching it again, and I was just like pulled in like into that world. It's just such a great film. If you have not seen it, highly recommend check it out.
Yep, same here. I recommend it as well. Saber say it's amazing. It's Nolan's best film. It's my personal favorite film of all time. It's the best sci-fi film. Bite me, whatever. It's one of the best sci-fi films after The Clockwork Orange, Stanley Kubrick's film. I mean, ensemble cast amazing. The music by Hans Zimmer again amazing. The cinematography is amazing. Like everything is top notch from Nolan, and it's great. I wish Nolan could be consistent, top notch in every movie, but he can. He's a human person. But I think Inception is literally his best movie. It's peak Nolan. Like this is where Nolan feels like Nolan. Like you see, he's again working again with Cillian Murphy, Tom Harley a couple times after this movie. That's great. That's why I love this movie. It's one of the best movies, and it sets up Nolan as the greatest filmmaker, in my opinion.
Well,
So,
honestly, Andres, my favorite video is the one where I've got 3 different chicks on their knees
no,
giving me a
no,
blowjob
no,
at the same
no,
time. And honestly,
no.
I was just thinking to myself, right? What if Hans Zimmer would write a soundtrack for that? Right? That would be dope. You know what I'm saying, Cyber? Like, what would Hans come up with that for that shit? Right?
Why? You should have done that while Cyber did it, not me.
It would be music that would be like, why, oh why, oh why.
That would be a real.
Am I making music for this?
That would be
Yeah.
a real collaborative experience right there, baby.
I need a whiskey after this. I'm
Oh,
done.
stop it, Andres! Come on now. This is me. Cyber knows. This is me out. This is me be out like on a light night. You don't even know. You ain't even seen nothing yet, kid. Shit. I'm telling you right now. Anyways, no, I'm just kidding. I ain't telling you nothing. But no, bruh, you were cracking me up really though, man. I didn't mean to pick on you, Andres, but you were so funny, dude, when you were like, Cyber, you go ahead and talk, man, and then you just started talking. I was like, what the fuck?
I'm sorry.
It's okay, brother.
I gotta
You're
have a heart
awesome.
attack. Oh,
You're
man.
good, dude. Stop it, man.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry,
Oh,
Cyber.
No, you're good. And Cyber, we did talk the other night and say we were going to do some DC animated film reviews again too. So we are. We're gonna get those back into those. I enjoy those. I do, and we do well with them. Our views on those are pretty good, right? People seem to like them. So, you know. But anyways, before I go ahead and throw over and let these gentlemen plug, I just would like to really quick just let everybody know on Rumble that we really appreciate you. Our few, audience members over on Twitter Live, Periscope, whatever, we appreciate you. All of you, Twitch, YouTube, all the platforms. I wish we were on more, right? Eventually, hopefully, we will be. But in the meantime, we got a lot of good shows ahead of us, a lot of good shit to do. And, at that point, all back with your fucking 770 women bullshit. Oh, come on now. Whatever, fucking Wilt. Whatever you say. So, Cyberneticshark, my friend, did you, by any chance, improve your subscriber count at all drastically since the last time I saw you?
634, sir.
Oof. I'm telling you, folks, every day that Cyber gets 5 or 10 subscribers is one more day that's closer to me not ending up having to suck some dude's dick randomly.
Yep.
Right?
That is right, people.
That's right.
That's right.
Because that's right. I put it out there that if you don't get Cyber up to 1,000 subs by a certain time, I'm just gonna have to go suck some dude's dick to get the subs randomly.
Yep.
And you know what? I'll probably win an Oscar for that shit or get nominated.
There you go.
Yep.
There you go, people. Yeah. There you go. Anyway, so if you look at the page there, people, I want to thank everyone that has recently subscribed. Thank you very much. My most recent video went up today, the Blue Beetle trailer reaction. So definitely go check that out if you haven't. I also did shorts of Tenet and Inception today as well. I have upcoming more reviews coming up for you guys, definitely for some films that came out in the recent couple weeks. Like I said, I would get those up for you guys. They're coming. You'll be seeing the Super Mario Brothers movie review. You'll be seeing Renfield as well. So keep your eyes out for that. But yeah, let's keep going, people. Let me get me to that 750 mark and then to the 1,000 mark, people. So you guys are rocking it. I want to just thank you. But yeah, definitely. Also, if you haven't checked out the link in my page there or my bio for my Patreon page, definitely go check that out. You can once you become a part of my Patreon, you get to see outtakes and bloopers and all that kind of cool stuff. So definitely check that out, people, to support the page.
Hell yeah, I'm gonna go check that out myself, Cyber.
But yeah, so yeah, check that out, people. And like I said, thank you to all that keep subscribing. You guys are rocking it. I mean, I was just at like 600 maybe a couple weeks ago, and I'm already almost halfway through 600. So you guys are rocking it. So thank you.
And you know what? Andres, as much as I busted your balls earlier in the show and whatnot and everything, brother, I just want you to know we've really appreciated having you around lately and whatnot as much as you have, brother. You got a lot of heart, you know what I'm saying? A lot of spirit, right? Even though your dick fell off a couple years back, whatnot, because of your body count being so high, you know, it's all right. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure you're still getting down. But either way, no, you've been killing it, man. You've been getting after it, having a good time with us and whatnot. Everything you filled a lot of spots in the panel recently, which I appreciate. Cyber appreciates that shit too. You know, and Jasmine even appreciates it. No, she don't give a fuck. But either way, I'm just messing with you, Jazz. Andres, let me ask you a question, brother. Is collaborating with the Bleeding Edge, right? Do you feel? I mean, are you concerned at all with like having your brand associated with ours, considering like what I'm like all about, the shit I say?
No, I mean, I don't have a problem with that. I think showing them growing as a YouTuber, that I'm finally collaborating with YouTubers. You know, that's been a big thing. Like the next step for me. You know, after doing, you know, finally doing a podcast and all that. So
Well, hey, I'm a white devil, motherfucker. Just so we're clear. All right.
yeah. So yeah, this is my channel. My channel is still growing, which is great. I'm up to 739 subscribers, which is good. So I just you know, want to thank you, Cyber, and the whole, you know, Bleeding Edge community. I hope you guys can you know, boost my subscriber and hit that like button. You know, that's all I'm asking. And
Hey.
yeah,
Andres, listen. I think that I think I'm gonna go ahead and make sure I write a little note after the show, and I'm gonna make sure that I go ahead and do something on my own individually to make sure that happens, brother. All right, I got you, brother.
oh no, thank you.
I'll
Sorry.
take care of you. I'll take care of you, man. I know how to reciprocate.
Yeah. But yes. So as always, any so tomorrow, I have some plans. I have a 10th anniversary tribute movie for The Evil Dead, the 2013 one that came out like 10 years ago. I'm working on it now. It'll be coming out tomorrow, and then I do have one for my other channel that's like a birthday tribute for Jace McAvoy. His birthday is this week. That will be in the secondary channel I have. That is called DC and Marvel Plus stuff.
Shit, I thought you were gonna say that it was your 10th anniversary. You're not getting laid.
No, as I mentioned in the chat, I went with 770 women over the 5 decades.
I'm just messing with you, man. Whatever.
Saber, look at this. This is crazy. This man just
What?
underestimate me.
You don't even know. What, you think that look was
No,
intense?
both of you are insane.
Listen, you think that was bad? You should see some looks that Cyber gives me. That shit wasn't even nothing compared to some of the shit Cyber throws at me.
You know that Saber just, oh my god, this is just too much. Come on, Saber. I'm more, you know.
I'll be on a show and shit and whatnot, and Cyber will just be like staring me down, like boring at me from his fucking like window and shit and whatnot, right through me and shit and whatnot, and my soul and all that, right? Fucking me up.
Yeah.
Because me and Cyber got like that, baby.
Oh god.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you know.
I think we should call ourselves the Three Amigos. I think
Well,
we should official, or the Three Stooges.
We could be the Three Amigos, but I ain't jacking you off or whatever, bro. Like we ain't gonna be getting down like all that. You know what I'm saying?
I did not say that.
This ain't prison rules, baby.
Oh, okay. Oh dear. Anyway, I need more whiskey.
Whatever. Either way, folks. No, we really appreciate all of you out there and whatnot and everything. I know a lot of you enjoyed the fuck out of our review. I mean, I certainly, if I watched it, I would enjoy it. I already know that. That's how good it was, right? So it's that simple. The MCU'S Bleeding Edge is legit. We are real. We are not going fucking anywhere. And our fucking our future is very, very, very positive. Right at the end of the day. But you know what? It's a long-term game, so it might take us 2 years to get to 1.25 subscribers. Who knows? But in the meantime, though, Andre's brother, again, thank you, man. Cyber, dude, I'm gonna get you to 1,000 subscribers, man. I'm telling you. Look, we're gonna make it happen. I'm gonna call. I'm gonna call up fucking Chloe Zhao, all right, and get some real heart to heart advice. You know what I'm saying? From somebody, a real champion that really knows what she's about, knows what's going on, right? And you know, have her mentor me.
No, you should contact Jessica Gao.
You know what, man? I'll tell you right now. I would never even contact Jessica Gao, to be honest with you. I would never want to fuck Jessica Gao. If Jessica Gao got naked and shit and whatnot, and like got in the doggy style and shit and whatnot and everything, I'd be like, yo, fuck you, bitch. I'd be like, remember She-Hulk? Peace. That's right. Jessica Gao. Fucking cunt. I'm telling you right now, don't even get me started with that cunt. Anyways, though, no. When I need advice, folks, I know where to go. That's right. Cyber, I'm retiring some of these videos, man. So enjoy them. This is the last time you're ever going to see some of them. All right.
Sure.
I'm serious. I've got new ones. I finally found some new material. Anyways, does anybody have any shout outs or anything whatnot to anybody? Any family shout outs or anything whatnot and all that? Anything you know like that before we head out? Cyber, Andres, anything?
This is late. I mean, it happened last week, last Wednesday. It was my dad's birthday. So happy birthday to my dad. I hope he rests in peace. I hope he's been happy to be accomplishing this year, 2023. So happy birthday, Dad.
Hey, you know what? It's actually my 6th-year birthday of having herpes today. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm just kidding.
What?
I'm joking. It's a joke. Anyways, I got a chick over here. I'm over here talking like this and whatnot and everything. And she's like, what? Anyways, Cyber, I love you, brother. Appreciate you, man. Andres, thank you, brother. Folks, we out. Peace. God bless you. Be safe.